Hi, Annette Reeder here today, and I want to share with you what should be the most joyful subject ever, but yet it's not. It's actually a very stressful subject, and it's about how to recognize stress in your children. Yeah, our kids are carrying such a load on them today that they were never created to carry, and they're showing signs of stress that are not always the same as what an adult would show when they're stressed. Now, okay, I'll just be honest. When I'm stressed, I'm crabby. I quiet down. I like shut up. I just like close in, which kind of seems the opposite of crabby, but you can do everything at the same time. I just lose ability to function. And when children are stressed, I want to share with you some of the symptoms to look for, because what we want is children happy. We want them vibrant. We want them enjoying life. Okay, even if times are difficult, they have to go through a move, or there's a job change of the parents, or there's a school change. Life can still have difficulties, but we can also, when we recognize the stress symptoms, we can actually help with the situation. So yes, they can go through that school change, that move, that loss of a parent more easily if we recognize the symptoms. Okay, so this is going to be a loaded talk, so I hope you're ready. Let's talk about, so there's different symptoms that children have that not all adults are going to show. So it helps to recognize these symptoms. And I have quite a list. So number one might be very obvious, would be stomach aches. You may think, well, we've served that food before and it didn't cause any problems, but now they're dealing with stomach aches. Might be a stomach ache at school, a stomach ache before school, especially if there's trauma or drama at school. It could be a stomach ache at any different time. It could be in the middle of the night when they just need the comfort of being held. And sometimes you think they're just being obstinate, and sometimes it's just stress. So stomach aches is number one. Acting out. I know I just said that this is something I do as an adult, but kids will do it too. When they just are not behaving in a good way, if they're not responding to your commands in a good way, if they're not responding to simple suggestions such as, hey, let's come and eat, and then they act out. Okay, that can be a sign that they're stressing the kids. Headaches. I mean, to me, that's an obvious sign. I mean, but I would also say, are they drinking enough water? Are they getting enough nutrition in their meals? But headaches can be a stress, because just as adults tend to take in the stress and let it, linger, children can do the same thing. They can internalize the stress, which is going to create, some vascular changes in the brain, which is going to cause a headache. Another one is change in sleep patterns. Are they sleeping more? Are they sleeping less? Is it an interrupted sleep? Is it a real hard time to awaken them in the morning? Maybe they just want to stay into that sleep stupor to not have to deal with the day. So it's different sleep patterns. For one child, it may be restless sleep. For another child, it may be prolonged sleep. So we have to start recognizing this. Mood swings. Wow. If that's, that can seem obvious, but sometimes it isn't obvious, because a lot of times when children are stressed, the parents are stressed, and we don't recognize these symptoms because we're stressed. But we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention to what our children are dealing with. Drastic changes in schoolwork. Now, I would have loved to have been a straight A student. I actually could have more than I was, just because I didn't apply myself. I was very much just a goof off. Today, I wish I would have applied myself. Life would probably be easier. But here we need to realize that if your child is having some drastic changes in school, their grades have made a drastic drop. I mean, usually teachers can pick up on this, but teachers today have classrooms that are bigger than they can manage. They've got, learning disabilities that are overwhelming them. So teachers may not always pick up on this. So you need to be attuned to your child. Bedwetting. And bedwetting can be a physical dysfunction that needs to be corrected in other manners, but it can also be a stress signal. So be alert to that. Difficulty learning in school, and also difficulty leaving you. If they do not want you to leave them at a certain place, you need to think about it. Why? And always be more in tune to your child than some adult saying, oh, don't worry, they'll be okay. No, listen to your child. Now, sometimes it's just bad behavior and it's a phase they're going through. They don't like being left. But always pay attention to your child. If you're leaving them with a particular person and that causes a child to act out, or is it the location, always be in tune to your child. Nightmares can be another symptom, and hair twirling. If you've got a child who's doing a lot of this, that can be a stress signal, okay? For older children, it could be lying, not telling the truth. It could be being a bully, and it could be defying authority. All of these are symptoms that a child is under stress. I used to tell my kids growing up when there was another kid that was causing trouble, it wasn't so much, I would try to tell them, don't be so concerned about what they're causing trouble with you. Try to look into their life and realize there must be something going on behind the scenes. Because if you didn't instigate it, either they did by their own stress that they're going through at home, or someone in their family instigated it, or another bully in school instigated it. But always be in tune to realizing that not everything that happens to you is because of you. A lot of times there's things going on behind the scene in someone's life that you're not aware of. And that's true for us adults as well. When we have people that we work with and it's like, why are they so difficult to work with? What am I doing wrong? Well, it may not be you at all. It may just be they're going through a divorce, or they're going through this, or they're going through that. I remember when Steve and I had just a horrific experience with another couple at church. And it's like, wow, we couldn't figure out what we did to cause it. I mean, we could see, well, I guess we didn't handle that perfectly, and they misinterpreted this. Well, a couple years later, we learned that they were going through divorce at the time, but they just didn't tell us. But we were the punching bag, to say. So just realize it's not always about you, and it's with your children, teach them it's not always about them. It might be something else going on behind the scenes. Okay, so what are some solutions? We've got to have solutions when children are under stress. Number one is pray daily for your children. Pray God's word over your child. God loves for us to speak his words back to him. All right, so pray daily for your children. If you don't know how to do this, there are lots of books out there on the market about how to pray for your children. Stormy O'Mardian has one from many years ago, The Power of the Praying Parent. Dr. Dobson has some for how to pray for your child. There's lots of resources. Get one of those and just work your way through it every day. Just pray for your child. In the Jewish family, you would come to the dinner table, which is considered the altar. And the husband would pray over the wife. And then he would pray a blessing on each one of those children. In biblical days, it talks about praying a blessing on your children. This is something that we've lost track with. We've become, out of touch with. But it's something we need to bring back into our homes, bring back to our dinner tables, praying a blessing over every family member. Okay, make sure your children are getting enough rest. They need a minimum of 8 hours, and most children need 10 hours. This is key for them to be able to let their body to detoxify, for their brain to settle down, for their body to be ready for the next day. They've got to have uninterrupted sleep. Now, let me just pause here. If you are someone and you are having a bad relationship with your spouse, or perhaps you're even living with someone, which, you need to take that to God, because that would be wrong as well. But you're arguing while you think your children are sleeping. No, they're hearing that. And so go and get counseling, get some help so that you can solidify your marriage so that your children aren't stressed. Your children need uninterrupted, peaceful sleep. Now that also means with the lights off, they need a darkness in their room, and they need to get used to that. They need to not be hearing too much TV in the background, because that can overstimulate their mind. Okay, nutrition. Well, I'm all about nutrition. We've got to eat whole foods. Sometimes it can be very minuscule amount of stimulants in a food that you didn't realize. Sometimes even the sugar substitutes. Well, of course, the fake sugar substitutes, your Splenda, your aspartame, those type of sweeteners, they can definitely cause problems. But even sometimes the sugar alcohols might cause a little bit of upset that might cause a sleep disturbance or a digestive upset. So just make note of it. Otherwise, they need to have a high fiber, high protein, healthy carb, healthy fat diet. The brain has to have healthy fats. Okay, so just take note of that. Be a good parent. Okay, that should be an obvious. But what that means is get on the floor and play with them. Go out on a hike. I just love hiking with my grandkids and my kids too. But you need to be involved in their life. I know life is busy. We're trying to make an income to support them. But I'm telling you, paying for the activities for your kids to participate in can be a waste of money if you're not willing to spend time with them yourself. It's less expensive to take them on a hike every Saturday, go to a different park, than paying for these organized sports where you're not interacting with them. Now, they have a place. Organized sports have a place in your child's life, and they need to learn to work on a team and develop different skills. But they also need you. And you cost a lot less than those sports. Okay, be interested in them and their interest. I have 2 children and they're opposites. They have different interests, they have different personalities, and that's a blessing, but it also means I had to learn 2 different languages, 2 different love languages. And sometimes I did well and sometimes I didn't do very good. And if you have more than 2 kids, you've got to figure out 4 love languages or 3 love languages or 6 love languages. And that's going to be hard, but only God's going to be able to help you understand each different child. Learn each child, learn their language, what excites them, what pleases them, what calms them down, okay? And be interested in them. Let them play creatively. I am all about my son used to go to the garage and take a board and just start hammering nails. I mean, it was the most unusual looking board when he was done, but it was creative play. He was creating his own environment. He was creating his own type of play, and it was helping him to grow up. Now, my daughter, she'd be in her room organizing the dolls and playing with the dolls and just having a good old time. They need creative play, not a game that's already been designed, not TV, not iPads, creative play. All right, cut back on after school activities. I kind of already addressed that, because they need time to relax. They need time to be themselves. They need time to just go out in the yard and swing on the swing. My rule was you had to be outside every single day of the year. And if it's below 0, yes, just 10 minutes, run around the house and then come back in. They need that oxygen. They need that outdoor experience. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's 10 feet of snow. I don't care. Go have fun and then come back in. All right. That is the biggest stress reliever ever. Now, as a parent, what you can do that will best help your child to have less stress is to keep a journal of their behavior. Then you'll start tracking that something's going on. Sometimes, I have grandchildren that are not local to my house. I have to drive a long distance. My husband and I drive a long distance to go and visit them, and we love them. But sometimes I can recognize a behavior faster than their parents because they're seeing them every day and I'm seeing them at random times. And I can say, hey, have you thought about changing this or changing that? And that's really a very difficult subject because I don't want to overstep their parental authority. And I also don't want them to think I've come to tell them what to do. So that's a really tricky subject. But what my point is sometimes as a parent, you don't recognize what's going on. But if you journal what's going on, things are going to start jumping out on the page. It says, wait a minute. This behavior just started. We've got to nip this in the bud, if you want to say it that way. We need to correct this. Something's going on. Okay, so spend more time Spend more time talking with your kids. No TV, no iPad, no phones in your hand, just talking. We used to encourage when my daughter was growing up, a father-daughter, dates. They'd go on Saturday mornings and things like that out to the restaurant and just have a father-daughter time. And that was important, but it was time to just talk about what's going on in life. Help them prepare for situations ahead of time. When you know something stressful is going to happen, there's going to be a move, there's going to be a job change, that your dad's going to be gone for many hours or many days, or maybe you're military. If you prepare your child ahead of time, they know what to expect. I have one granddaughter who likes that. She has to be prepared ahead of time. She likes to know what to expect. And if things don't happen like she thought, it can cause chaos. You know, she will react. She's getting older now and she's doing better, but she needed to know ahead of time what to expect. One time they were going to visit Steve's mom and Grandma Georgia, and so that Stella was told she was going to go visit Grandma. Well, I'm also Grandma. So Stella thought she was going to visit me because I'm not local. I don't see her all the time. So she was all excited to come see me. Well, when they went into the nursing home and saw Grandma Georgia, who was much older and, you know, kind of confined to a wheelchair, so she's not the same as me. Stella was all upset. And so it was because they thought they had prepared her saying they're going to go see Grandma, but they didn't say the right grandma. So every child is different. Every love language is different. So we have to learn how to prepare our children when a stressful situation is going to come up. Not that they thought that was going to be a stressful situation. It just turned into one. Okay, so what else is on my notes for you? Like if you're going to be going to the doctor's office, tell them ahead of time. I know some of this just seems redundant and you should know this, but it just kind of helps to review. And just realize stress is normal. It's how we respond to the stress that will either be life-saving or life-taking. So we need to understand that. And your child needs to know it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be scared or lonely or anxious, but we need to work through it. And then just want to share a verse with you out of Isaiah 41 verses 10 and 13. It says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not anxiously look about you, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Surely I will help you. Surely I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. I am the Lord your God, who upholds your right hand, who says to you, do not fear. I will help you." What I would suggest is if you're dealing with a lot of stress in your families, take this verse, write it down on paper, and then personalize it. The first line says, "Do not fear, I am with you." Do not fear, and then put the name of the child in there. Do not fear. I'll just use an example of one of my grandbabies. They're not old enough to have stress yet because they're just too happy. And they're only 1 year old. They'll use one of their names. Do not fear, Landon. Do not even anxiously look about you. Landon, God is there for you. Landon, God is going to strengthen you. God is going to help you. He is going to uphold you with his right hand. Landon, the Lord is your God, who upholds your right hand, who says to you, Landon, do not fear. I will help you. Well, hopefully this has been extremely beneficial to you. I know as a biblical nutritionist, I coach and work with clients all around the world, and stress can just seep in before you even realize it. And we need to recognize it, journal it, and then work through it and either change the situation or change my thinking. And with children, it's a lot more delicate, but yet important. Annette Reeder here, the Biblical Nutritionist. I hope you're watching all of these videos on YouTube because this channel is designed for you. It is how I invest in you. It's how I help you stay on mission longer, because as you gain your health, you will be able to fulfill your mission. Annette Reeder, the Biblical Nutritionist. Be sure and subscribe to this channel. Be sure and share it with your friends. And I want to know, what is your favorite way to recognize stress in your kids, and how do you deal with it? Leave a comment below. I look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you for joining me.